Welcome. So as you can see, I'm a bit bigger today. Welcome to my channel, and this video is about identity. I am Georges Verbena, an astrologer, and I am an identity disorder specialist who focuses on restoration of identity. So this video will be essential for anybody who's interested in my work, who's interested, well, what is this guy about? Do I want a reading with this person? Do I want to look into my natal chart because I'm an astrologer? And readings is what I provide. But why do I do astrology? What is the point, right? Why do you want to know your chart? This is what this video is about. Identity is your foundation, because it is a sense of who you are. What am I supposed to do? What do I want here? Why have I not committed suicide? Right? That is the question. So for this video I made a little presentation, so you have a visual entertainment and teaching of what it means to have an identity. So first you come into this world not knowing your identity. You're just a child, you're just a baby. So you put on perhaps a mask that mirrors your parents. And as you develop further, you become better at playing these masks. You become smarter, you become stronger. You learn to adapt to your environment. Because to survive, your identity is essential. Because if you don't belong to your family, in other words, if you are not like your father, like your mother, then your identity is incompatible to your environment, which means your environment is no longer a safe place. So this is when we get into the archetype of a trickster. This is the essential beginnings of all identities. So perhaps you've heard of this trickster archetype before, but this is absolutely essential to understanding how an identity is formed. The trickster is the first fundamental archetype of all the archetypes. He is masculine. He can see you, and then he says, okay, I'm gonna do what you do to adapt to the environment, so I can fit in to this whole, so I can put on the smile. If you're smiling, I will smile. If you're sad, I am sad. The child internalizes its parent, so it takes on the parent personality, the parent emotions, the parent thoughts, the parent feelings, everything. So this becomes the basis of your identity. And as you incarnate, you have this bundle of information, because as you go around the world and you get older, you recognize, damn, there's some people that I admire, some people I like how they are, I want to be like them. So you take on their traits and you become like them. You shapeshift. You mold yourself. This is your project. This is your becoming. And this is not, as some people claim, a mental illness. Yeah. Forget this kind of thinking, brainwashing. You are adapting to the environment. So then, we have different animals in nature which present different personas. For example, we have the turtle. Now the turtle represents the mother. It is a shell based creature, like Cancer, like me, like a crab. And some people may identify with some parts of a turtle, so they feel attracted to the turtle. If you are attracted to the turtle, perhaps there is a need for you to embody Cancer, divine mother energy. Okay, this is just one example. Of course, there are countless creatures in this world, yeah? The fox included, which is the essential representation of a trickster as an animal in nature. But there's also other animals. For example, you also have the wolf. Now, some people who have to fend for themselves, who have to compete with their parents or their siblings for resources or attention. Perhaps people who have to parentify themselves, the parentified child. People who have to survive on their own, feeling neglected or abandoned. These would also be more connected to the wolf. Then you have the dolphin. And the dolphin is like the Knight of Cups in Tarot. This is a dreamer. This is a more empathic creature who just wants to get along with everyone, who's always dreaming of other places. Underwater, meaning he's not in his head, he's in his emotions. So if you are like that, then you may at some point connect to this energy. So why do I show you these animals? What is the point of this? Well, because it triggers your subconscious. Yeah? These animals, they're all archetype representations of identity in nature. Your body, your face, your statue. These are representations of your identity, if you like it or not. Yeah, I'm sorry if you are ugly. Yeah, if you are and watching and you are ugly, it's not my problem. Yeah, nature has created you to be a representation of something, and animals are the best example of that. Are you an animal? Yes. Yeah. Humans are animals, so we are like that. If we want it or not, I don't give a shit. So then we have other examples. We have fantasy, we have games like The Witcher, we have games and movies, we have Star Wars, we have Game of Thrones, we have Lord of the Rings, we have all kinds of fantasy creations which are just, again, movie representations, movie theaters of archetypes. And where these archetypes are also found is, of course, in the Native Americans. Yeah. So you don't have to look far. It's not a Western civilization concept. Whoever believes that identity is a disease is fucking get out of my channel. Yeah. Or stay here and learn your lesson. Whoever brainwashed you to believe that identity is some kind of Maya, illusion of the ego, clearly has no clue about where identity actually comes from. Because the Native Americans knew this. They knew that every person, every soul, belongs to a group, an animal group. And this is called your spirit animal. Yeah, whether you like it or not, I don't care what you believe. This is just fucking the subconscious. Yeah? And then you have people like Carl Jung who talk about this. You have the Egyptians, you have the Greeks, you have everybody honing in on this, creating gods, goddesses, claiming, oh, I channel this god or goddess, I channel this spirit. Well, you are channeling this spirit. It's not a hallucination. Because guess what? You are that. Yes, it's your identity. And you can fight it, you can resist it, but this is who you are in this body, in this incarnation. And we have been trained to fight this, to pretend that we have nothing to do with these animals, that our identity is an illusion. Well, no wonder they committed genocide against the Native Americans, because their knowledge of the self was a danger to Western civilization, to those who are in power, who don't want you to know what you are. Because when you know, then you can tap in, you can manifest, as we like to say in New Age, yourself, which means you can get favorable outcomes. Because the spirit animal that belongs to you is the most powerful emanation that you can generate in this realm. You are channeling, like you can see in this picture. This Native American older person has a sphere, like the world. And under the world is electricity, like lightning. This is what you're channeling when you're channeling your spirit animal. Yes, I know it sounds ridiculous. I don't care, because this is the truth. So then we have other examples. We have all kinds of representations throughout history. And then we have Kalium. And we have the archetype wheel. Do you see this wheel? Kalium created this to give you a sense of orientation. To look, okay, where do I belong? Do I belong to the hero? Mostly. Because everybody has all of these archetypes within you. But where is your focus? Yeah. Don't think for 1 second you're just like a blank slate and you don't belong somewhere. Like the child that belongs into the family, you also belong somewhere in this world. And where you belong depends on where you belong on the inside, before you can figure out where to belong to on the outside. Are you a hero, a magician, an outlaw, an explorer, a sage, whatever, a creator? Are you a warrior? Are you a king? Are you supposed to give orders, or are you supposed to take orders and go into battle? Or are you a mix of these things primarily? Or do you not know? But this doesn't end here. Because you can go throughout history and you can look to the Chinese. Yeah? Let me delete this in the way. Jung and Taoism have similar origins in their teachings, in their life philosophies, of what you're supposed to do in this life to get your shit together. Yeah. To study what? Yourself. Of course, it's all about yourself, right? Studying yourself, knowing yourself. Well, what is yourself? Huh? Nobody seems to know. Well, your identity. Yes. You don't like it? I don't care. Your identity. So then you have archetypes in Egypt, Egyptian archetypes, because these are simply gods and goddesses that have been emanations from visions of people who saw themselves in these visions, and they believed, oh no, this must be some kind of deity, the deity is talking to me. You know, when you take ayahuasca, when you take DMT, when you take LSD, when you take God knows what, and suddenly like this deity is talking to you and you're like, oh, this deity, no! It's you. But your subconscious generated an image that accurately presents this archetype, which then of course is the same for everyone, right? Everybody sees the same deities, except they are different for everyone. You know, some people see the dog, Anubis. Others see Toph, the beak, you know, like Virgo, Gemini in astrology. The dog is more Cancer, Scorpio. The cat is, of course, Leo. The scarab is also Cancer. The pharaoh could be, I don't know, like, is a king archetype, but also Sagittarius. The crown that is worn by this female pharaoh is like Aquarius. There's a sign that belongs to every god or goddess. There's a symbol, there's an archetypal manifestation. So this helps you to find your spirit animal, as the Native Americans call it, in form of this god or goddess. And of course we have this everywhere throughout the world. And one very dominant archetype, that explains again all of these other archetypes is Thoth, which is the trickster, Mercury, Hermes. The scroll in his hand because he got the knowledge of all the archetypes. He understands what they are. And so he can tell you, look, I can see you are this identity. You are this deity because you are doing this. Because you have this face. Because you have these facial features. Because your body is formed like this. Because your mind works like this. So here, that's your self-knowledge. Okay? I don't care what you think. I'm air element. I'm Gemini. I'm the trickster. I don't care. I am detached. I don't care what identity you are, but you are it. You can accept it or not. It is none of my business. I come and go. And this is why it's the messenger of the gods. So of course this is very essential. This is what operates within you. When you try to find out what identity you are taking the mantle of Thoth, the trickster. So, and then you go into astrology, and this is my work. So this is why I'm doing this. Because like you've seen in the Jungian archetype wheel before, you have an archetype wheel in the natal chart wheel. This is the same thing. You think it's different? No, it's not. So here your chart shows you exactly where the focus is. Where are the planets at the time that you're born? Where was the focus? Here. For me it's in the 12th house. So the unconscious. Of course, it's obvious, isn't it? I have most of my planets in the 12th house. And then I have some in the 3rd house, so I communicate this shit. I teach. I have Saturn in the 9th, so blah blah blah. And then you want to know, well, what archetype belongs to that house? Okay, let's go through this. Let's go through this one by one. Number 1, 1st house. If you have most planets in the 1st house, or any planets like Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, this is the warrior archetype. But this is also the magician in tarot. Also the first card in the tarot, number 1. The magician is how you manifest. And yes, you manifest through the ego. I'm sorry, any new agers that don't like this, but this is science. Science doesn't care about your belief systems. This is neutral, objective. It's like mathematics, okay? This is how it works. This is how this realm is set up. This is holographic. This is freaking basics mathematics 101, like, I don't know. So number 1, ego is representation of the magician, which is the warrior archetype. Why is the magician a warrior? Well, he takes action. He knows how to take action. So if you have prominent planets there, these planets are very active, visible. It represents also your physical body. As I talked about it before, your physical body is an emanation created by the divine, this realm, to represent an archetype. Because this is a theater, this is a drama. So somewhere in the drama you belong, this is you. And then you have the 2nd house. Number 2. 2nd house, if you have any planets there, represents the lover archetype. Because this is accumulation and ownership. Taking, claiming, and keeping stuff. It's a provider. It's feminine. Then we get into the 3rd house. This is the house of communication. This is the trickster house. So if you have planets there, congratulations. You can see these things easier than perhaps other people who don't have any planets there. You understand that any knowledge about the self is not to be taken personally. That if you take it too seriously, If you're attached to, oh, I don't want this identity that was given to me by nature, I want another one. Ciao. Then you are rigid, then you are armored, and you will not be able to adapt to the environment the way nature has designed you to do. So adaptation belongs to this house. This is air element house. Early environment contains siblings. Yeah. So this is why it rules siblings, of course. And this is like a short-term travel. So this is picking up many different things, but not really going too far. And this is masculine, this house. So when we go into the 4th house, belongs to the sign of Cancer. Yeah, so we've went through Aries, Taurus, Gemini. Now we're at Cancer, ruled house. 4th house is home because home is feminine, foundation, roots. Where do you come from? Well, of course, the Divine Mother, right? Isis in Egypt. Me, yeah. Because I'm Cancer Sun rising. I have my chart ruler in the 4th house. So this is what I also work with a lot in this life. How to create a foundation for you. Well, this is your foundation. Your identity. So if you have a strong connection to where you come from. Really. But feminine. Not masculine like right brain logic. But you can feel it. You can look at the animal and you know, this is my animal. This is my clan. This is my family. If you have a strong intuition of that. Maybe you have planets in the 4th house. A ruler of the 4th house is well aspected or something. This is feminine. Isis, Egyptian deity, belongs to this house. The Nile, fertility. So then you go into the 5th house. Creativity, joy, children. Of course, this is the house of Leo. So the king, lion, rules this house. So if you have North Node there like I do, the lion principle is your chosen destination. So North Node also, depending on what house it is in, chooses destination for life. 5th house, of course, is masculine. Belongs to whoever is in charge, whoever is in control of things, whoever is taking life as a play, as a game, and he can do whatever he wants in this game and doesn't care what happens to other people. Can be a little bit reckless. You know, stepping over other people. So there's also this shadows to every house. But this is just one of them. And you have house number 6. If you have any planets there, well, number 6 is work, unavoidable karma, unfortunately, diet, health, routine. You can't avoid your health. It's gonna catch up to you eventually, so this is the house of that. Occupation is work. This is a Virgo house, feminine. And if you have any planets there, my condolences. Because this is by far the most miserable of the houses. Yeah, I don't care if other astrologers don't admit this, but this is. This is the house of disease, but also overcoming disease. So if you have planets there, you are very good at destroying the disease that is in your way. And doing the work. So what animal could this belong to? I don't know. What animal represents Virgo? The fox, of course. This is trickster house, like the 3rd house. Oh, why? Seems heavy, this house. But the trickster heals you. Hermes, god the caduceus. You see Hermes symbol in medicine. Yeah, overcoming diseases. So this rules that. Yeah, intelligence house. So then as you go through the houses, you go to the 7th house of marriage, relationships, contracts, agreements. This is the house of diplomacy. And in this house you have air element, social. This house belongs to Libra, so justice, so Anubis in Egypt. Because he has the scales and he judges people and then condemns them and he signs contracts. So if you're good with people, if you're a people person, most of your planets will be there. Animal associated with the 7th house, Libra. Well, what animal avoids confrontation? What animal uses charm to get what they want? Peacock. Juno. in Greek mythology, Hera rules this house. Then you have 8th house, other people's resources, Pluto, Scorpio, power. 8th house, Scorpio is like the underworld, secret investigator, underground operator, spy work. This belongs, of course, to an animal like the scorpion, obviously. But this is also feminine. It's a house of separation from family ties, separation from home. So this is kind of Isis' dark sister, Nephthys, her dark side. This is also a house of magic. All the water element houses are connected to magic. So this is how people manifest in the underground without other people noticing. This is not the kind of manifestation that you would expect. Unexpected gains and losses are connected to these water element houses. And you have a 9th house. It says spirituality here. It's a philosophy house. It belongs to horse as an animal. Sagittarius, Jupiter, Zeus in Greek mythology. So this is a house of ego inflation, because Zeus is like, I begin you begot. It's a royal house. Even more ego than Leo. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with 9th house. It's a very favorable house. It's a lucky house, optimistic house, but a little bit too optimistic, if you ask me. If you have planets there, these planets are what you believe in, will get you what you want. So if you have your sun there, you believe that you have to be in the spotlight to get what you want. So ego can be very strong here. The color purple belongs to that house. Then you have 10th house, Capricorn, ambition, banks, empires. The Emperor in Tarot, even though I know it's like an Aries card, also belongs to that house. Because this house of duty and occupation is like Napoleon Bonaparte making his like kingdom, like, oh, I make France, I do this, I conquer, and then I take. Well, it's something that, like, you take the land that you want, you make your career. This house belongs to Saturn. I don't know what animal it would be, but of course it would be the goat, because the goat climbs mountains. This is the highest position of a chart. It's connected to the midheaven, so it's connected to gains in the external that everybody can see. It's the most visible gains in the chart, most visible point of the chart. So this is also the public personality, public identity, actually. It works together with the ascendant, which are the main points of your identity in any natal chart. So this is very important, the 10th house, because the 10th house shows you, this is how other people see you in your job, in your career. So this is how you see yourself. This is what you aspire to become in this lifetime. You're not going to be born just being that from the get-go, but you kind of are. So you are just aspiring to refine that and embody it more and more. Whatever sign, whatever planets are in the 10th house, these are very important projects to become. And you have the 11th house. 11th house is Aquarius, the water bearer. This is the star in Tarot. Uranus, color turquoise. Animals, beavers, because these people, they build their own homes, they work together in a group, they're very inventive in how they create their little buildings. This is also House of Treasure, but also malignant self-detachment, because this is House of Group Mind. It opposes the ego in the 5th house. So people with planets there have identity problems, usually. Yes, this is identity issues, 11th house. It's not a good house to have an identity, but your identity is based on what you can do for the collective, working with the collective, for the community, not just for yourself, bigger picture. So this would be like a very selfless kind of character, but can also be a tyrannical character. If somebody identifies with a group, that means they need to control the group for their own self-worth, which is of course pathological. Many narcissists have their sun in the 11th house, but also people who suffer from narcissistic abuse, narcissistic parents. Typical to 12 planets in that house. I have personally myself put in the 11th house because my mother is a narcissist. And the node represents the mother, lunar principle in the chart. 11th house is the house of psychopathy, apathy, malignant detachment. So this represents the Borg Queen in Star Trek. Last house, 12th house. Identity here is the most difficult to find from all the houses. And this is where I have my planets. So why am I making this video? Because I need this the most. Bro, without identity, I'll be screwed. I can't do any of this work. Because identity in the 12th house is hidden. Identity is so deep in the unconscious, and you can't see it because your father, if you have a son there, your father is completely no identity. Completely malignant selflessness consciousness, servant consciousness. Jesus on the cross, Neptune rules his house. This is like Poseidon underwater, but not of this world, just far away, you know, like in the unknown, in the dreams of your unconscious. But good sleep in this house. This is a house belonging to the spirit animal of dolphins. But doesn't mean that you're going to identify necessarily with dolphins just because you have a 12th houser. Because it depends also on the ruling sign. It depends on the ascendant. Ruling sign for my 12th house sun is Leo. Which is why I identify much more with lion energy than dolphins. But this identification here is not personal. It's just, I feel this, so okay, I guess this is it. I'm just trying to figure this out. Everything is vague in this house. So don't expect that you get any practical proof. Oh yeah, you are bad. Like, you know, like the book Nisargadatta Maharaj. I am bad. No, it's not going to be that easy. So you have to do unconscious work. So this is like a psychotherapist, like a Carl Jung house. So of course this is why I'm making this video. Obviously. So then you can go through all this astrology and then you go back to mythology. Get back to the roots, you know. Get back to the Greek gods, you know. Every god belongs to a different planet. Yeah. You have all these gods. You see Jupiter in front, you see these big ass muscles. That's the ego inflation I'm talking about. Yeah. What is this about with Greek gods? Well, Greek gods are just the archetypal manifestations of what you see in real time. And Greek astrology would look like this. Hey, this is Pluto. Poseidon is Neptune. Not Jera, what the fuck? Somebody made a mistake. Hera is Juno. Zeus is Jupiter. Vesta, you don't need to care about that. You know. Of course, Venus is Aphrodite. I mean, this is kind of obvious. And Aries is Mars. Basics. Okay. These are basics of this realm. Like, if you don't know these basics about archetypal symbology and language and like, what are you even doing here? You know? You need to understand where is your focus. Like, what deity shows up in your life the most? You know, why did people worship these deities? Why did they create altars? Because they knew the more they bring this energy into their life of that specific deity, the more they're gonna manifest it. So if you want money, if you want health, you go for Venus and you go for Ceres, Aphrodite or Demeter. If you want the Empress energy, you go for that. And if people don't understand that symbols are the key to manifestation, well, that's not my problem. I'm just making this video. So here we are. Not knowing who the fuck we are or what we belong to. Like, what the hell? What deity am I? What is this? We are split, fragmented, looking for belonging. Because our family is split. Our society is split. Nobody knows where the heck they belong. They try to fit into jobs that they hate. Try to make relationships with people who hate them, who aren't good for them, who are trying to exploit them. I mean, this is just a shit show. And then you have certain archetypes and gods and goddesses who represent this whole shit show. Hecate. Okay, you see this? So you see, Hecate is a representation of Lilith. Yeah, you can see it very clearly if you ever looked into Lilith at all. You see the Lilith theme here. Lilith is about somebody who got exiled from the garden. Her identity was rejected. She said, I'm equal to you, Adam. Yeah, if you want to be above me, I can also be above you. But I'm not going to be below you. I'm not going to be your servant. I'm not going to be your slave. I have an identity. I am someone. And you have to respect that. And if you don't, ciao. So she left. Yeah. So she got this knife because she cuts the bullshit. She cuts the cords. She says, I'm going to leave this path. I'm going to cut it out. And then she has the torch and she says, I'm going to illuminate this path that I'm on now. Because the path that I'm on is very dark. I don't have a clue where I'm going. I don't know who I am. So I can channel them all. I can channel all the deities. I can channel all the gods. I have the key. You see? I have the key to your unconscious. I can unlock these deities for you if you want me to. But you're gonna have to play the game. You're gonna have to accept an identity eventually. If you don't accept the archetype and embody it, there's not gonna be any illumination for you. You're gonna get stuck here. You're gonna remain fragmented. I'm just showing you. You are the fractal. You are all the deities. You have to make them work for you. You have to work to integrate. So this is what this archetype is about, really. Yeah? When we understand what this whole meaning of identity is, like what is it trying to do? It's trying to manifest an archetype, one at a time, at different stages of your life, in different situations. Where's your focus? What's your career? What's your relationships look like? What's your function in this world, in this society? Are you going to be a slave like Adam and Eve? You know, Eve being like the replacement for Lilith, being like, yeah, I will be your slave. I will do what Lilith couldn't do. I will stay with you. I will fit into whatever mold you want me to fit into. I will remain fragmented because I don't have an identity. So I can fit in because that's most people. Now I'm going to show you something, an example of modern movies, Star Wars, and games. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. There's a character here, her name is Kreia. Okay. So you see this? You see? 3 phases, 3 stages. This is Kreia. She is a grey Jedi. She used to be in the light side of the Force. She used to teach other Jedis so they can follow the Jedi teachings, because the Jedi are a cult. And every cult needs teachers to reinforce the rules of a cult, and so she did. So she played Eve, which is the maiden in the white gown. And then she decided, well, this isn't really working for me, you know. playing by these stupid rules, suppressing my passion, seeing people fall to the dark side. This is not working. The Jedi Order is a joke. So she left. She took on the brown gown. So she became a maiden. She became a mother to herself. And then she became a mother to the main character in the game, which is in exile, and we'll get to that later. But then she fell to the dark side because she didn't feel satisfied with being in exile, being on the outside. She wanted to be a part of the world. She wanted to fulfill some kind of function. So she said, okay, I will become an enemy of the Jedi Order. If they exile me, I will come after them. I will fight them. I will take my own power back. So this is the crown. Maiden, mother, crown. The 3 stages of Lilith. Yeah. You start out as a sweet innocent. You submit. And then you say, well, I'm not having this shit. And then you say, okay, take my power back. Now I'm angry. Now I had enough. Time to reclaim my identity. But what happened here with Kreia, she didn't fulfill her identity through the dark side. Because when she got exiled from the dark side as well, the Sith betrayed her, and then she was alone again. Okay, let me delete this. In the end, she realized there's no great revelation, no great secret. There's only you. Okay? Not the Sith, not the money-based kind of society of just climb the ladder and you'll be somebody. That's not gonna do you any good. But also the malignant detachment of New Age, like Ram does being nobody, do nothing, be a slave, sacrifice like Jesus on the cross, is also not going to reveal anything to you. There's nothing there for you except you. And once you reclaim you as the only authority to make decisions for your life, you have found yourself. You have reclaimed your identity. So don't doubt yourself. Never doubt what you have done. All your decisions have brought you to this point. It's your decisions that make up your character, that mold you into what you're trying to become. And this is not a disease. Becoming is not an illness. Forget what you have been taught. Do not doubt your own instincts. They are guiding you back towards the truth. And recognize that if you want to heal from the brainwashing of the past, to reclaim your identity, healing is manipulation. And if you do not realize it yet, that you will discover that an act of healing depends largely on your perspective. So this is one of this fictional character's teachings, that if you want to heal yourself, you need to be a trickster. You can't just be like, yeah, I need to be good, I need to be bad, I need to be... No, you're playing a game. This is a game. So change your perspective. And realize that if you want to be a good person, you might actually deal more damage than if you don't try to be a good person. Be careful of charity and kindness, lest you do more harm with an open hand than with a clenched fist. Because if you want to reclaim your identity, you can't be attached to any specific idea. To make yourself devoted to a belief or an ideal is so that belief will always rule you, and you will be a slave. And then here a little joke for you, from my trickster to yours. Kreia tells everyone that they have less value than her favorite character, which is the exile, which is the protagonist in the story. So you could tell yourself, well, there's no greater value than my identity. Yeah, and my identity has been exiled, of course. My family didn't encourage it. Society didn't want it. I am in exile. And once I realize that I've been exiled, I can become whole again. I was so caught up in the euphoria of being a nice person that for like a minute I lived in a world where Kreia didn't exist. So Kreia is Lilith, okay? You can replace it with Lilith, because the Lilith character. Imagine Lilith didn't exist. Imagine Lilith never left Adam. Because Lilith, according to the story, is the garden snake. Okay, the snake in the garden. And the snake tempted Adam and Eve by showing them who they really are, teaching them the knowledge of good and evil. And if this didn't exist, you would be a slave. Okay? Your identity is your biggest defense against evil. Lilith, which is about separation and individuation. The Carl Jung process of reclaiming your true identity, which is just trying to be dictated by other people. The patriarchal society, the patriarchal system, Adam, God, Saturn. They're trying to dictate how to live your life. They're trying to make rules for you so that your true self can never emerge. If you seek to aid everyone that suffers in the galaxy, you will only weaken yourself and weaken them. It is the internal struggles, when fought and won on their own, that yield the strongest rewards. If you care for others, then dispense with pity and sacrifice, and recognize the value in letting them fight their own battles. So this is a nice quote I collected from Kreia because it shows you the importance of separation. Okay? To allow people to fight their own battles is to respect their journey, their struggle, their lessons, which can only be learned sometimes if you don't help them. So we come back to the trickster. He is at the core of all of this. Identity work. Look what I found! Haha! You see in the picture. Look, it's me! Haha! And then you can see the shadow at his back, a hand reaching out over his shoulder. The unconscious. Molding him, changing him. Fluid. Like water. Like he has a blue top, you know. Always changing, always shape-shifting. But he's saying, look, this is who I am. And then before he knows it, oops! I'm actually this other guy. Ha! And when I'm this, and when I'm that. But to be rigid, to be fixed on your identity, only one thing, is so that thing will always rule you. It's like a religion or a cult. And that's what where they want you to be. To believe in an ideal is to be willing to betray it. If you believe you're only one thing, that thing will be your prison. Be like the trickster. Don't attach to the identity, but claim it. Haha, this is me. But then I change. And so I am flexible. I am not armored, rigid, pathological. I'm not a narcissist. Not attached to my costume, but I still love playing it. That is freedom. And that is a healthy identity. So that is the point of this video. To explain my perspective on what an identity is. Did this make sense to you? Do you understand a little bit better? I hope. Unless you already did before you watched it, then welcome. But I hope this makes sense, this presentation. Now, if you have interested in a reading to learn more about your identity, to clarify what your identity is really about in this life, you can message me on Facebook and we can look at your chart and really try to understand what is your soul trying to manifest here. What are you trying to become unconsciously without you even knowing? Let us connect the dots. Let's make a group effort of looking at our charts and understanding, okay, this is our focus, this is where we belong. Yeah. This is why I have a Cancer rule chart, Cancer Sun and Rising. Because the mother guides you, the high priestess, right? Isis, back to home. And this is your home. You belong to one of those animals. You belong to one deity, one expression of life. One form will be your dominant one. And then there's many forms you can play throughout this life, and you can choose to identify with them or recognize them as what they are, which are costumes, to play a role in this theater. And the sooner you accept this role, it will make it easier for you to embody without fear, so you can get favorable outcomes. Because nature is in charge. Cooperate with nature so that it doesn't try to destroy you because you're trying to create something else that is not natural, which could be an identity, a way of being, which is not what nature intended you to be. Because we've been programmed, because we have been fragmented. We live a life in dissociation of our lost soul parts, which we need to reclaim if we want to stand a chance against this brainwashing, which is trying to fragment us, split us into different directions, divide us. We are divided within, not without. Without is only the result of not knowing who we are. What we're supposed to do here. Our beliefs, our morals, our actions, the rules we set upon ourselves, the goals we have. Everything depends on this identification. So yeah, I'm sorry to say, but your natal chart is a manifestation of that. It's a representation of your identity, of your desire, of your psychological urges that dictate your behavior. Simple. Now you chose this. You're not a victim. You're not playing victim here. And some people don't have a very nice chart. That chart kind of sucks. So my condolences to them. But they're never gonna come for a reading anyways, because their soul is not interested. But when there's other people like you who are interested in understanding who they are. So this is why astrology is a tool to do it. You know, you have 12 houses, you have 12 signs, you have deities, you have asteroids, you have fixed stars, you have hast du nicht gesehen. You have everything you need to figure it out. So this is a good way to work with identity. I think every psychologist should have access to astrology. There's really no reason to separate these two things. They're one and the same. Okay. If you found this video helpful, leave a like and a comment. If you are interested to learn more about this topic, let me know, and I will continue to make more videos on this subject if necessary. And thanks for watching. See you in the next video.